And and so, Thomas Jefferson writes the first draft of the Declaration of Independence. Richard Henry Lee, and if you guys have been following us on the podcast, again, God makes families, families make nations, and so we look at American history through two lenses. One, a providential lens. So, if you guys need correction in your view of history, there's some books that I would recommend, which are like Jefferson Lies, and there's but just about any. There's The American Story. There's a bunch of books that I would recommend on that. I'll put them in the description below. I'm anxious to find out which books that you would recommend. But if you need some correction on your history, that's where you guys want to go. A lot of people do a lot better job of it than I do. However, building on top of that, what we do is we then take history from a providential lens, and then add our families onto that. Because as you can see through whether it's this experience or throughout history, God makes families, families make nations, and biblically centered families, providentially centered families, are the ones that this nation really it is really makes a big difference, right? Yeah. And so we've looked at that. So in leading up to this, to the creation of the Declaration of Independence, another family, the Lees of Virginia, proposed the Resolution of Independence, right? So June 6th, 1776, Richard Henry Lee, after after he went back home to the House of Burgesses, he said, proposed in the Continental Congress that these 13 colonies of right are and ought to be free and independent states. John Hancock says, okay, let's vote on it. And John Adams says, wait a minute, we should write a Declaration of Independence so we know what we're voting on, right? Yeah. And so enter Thomas Jefferson. He disappears for like 3 weeks by himself. Yeah. So term paper, right? So he writes the Declaration of Independence, and then John Adams, Benjamin Franklin. Now the Committee of Five were John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Richard Henry Lee, Thomas Jefferson. There's 5 in there. Yeah. I'm missing one. But I'm missing. Anyways, so there's
John Hancock. Was it Hancock?
Was Hancock in that? I'm gonna get corrected here. So
yeah, we'll probably get corrected.
Anyway, Thomas Jefferson writes the first draft, and then sits down with John Adams and Benjamin Franklin, and they say, okay, this is what we want. This is truly what's in our hearts, with Richard Henry Lee as well. This is truly what it means. Now, where are we? Okay, South Carolina, North Carolina, is Georgia's, everybody on the same page. And there's different maturity levels when it comes to what liberty for all, what inalienable rights mean to everyone. And so, although there's some language that changes, the meanings don't. And although time and history needs to be played out so that all of those things can fill, all liberty for all can be filled throughout all of the ages, the meanings don't.
That's right.
And so, so in one aspect, so I kind of let up all that to get to this one part. There's this one part of the first draft of the Declaration of Independence where Thomas Jefferson is vehemently calling out the King of England at the time about the slave trade, saying this is not something that we want to perpetuate on our nation.
Yeah.
And so, but in that discussion with Benjamin Franklin and John Adams, they're like, look, at the beginning here is that all men are created equal and are endowed by their Creator certain inalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So, although it applies to everybody, we don't need to call it out that specifically here because we already said it, right? And so it will take time because not everybody's on the same page, but we are, right?